Thank you all for joining us for the PAS Lead 2025 Spring National Meeting. It is a great honor and pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Dr. Jordan, who works in psychiatry. But first, before I lead into her introduction, I just want to give a brief intro into PAS Lead. We are a group of PA students that was created in the wake of George Floyd's murder. Um, After a town hall discussion at the 2020 PAEA town hall addressing anti-racism in America in healthcare. And so this topic of mental health awareness and just prioritizing ourselves is really, really crucial in today's social climate, political climate. As pre-PAs, as PA students, as practicing PAs, we know everything we do is in our training is how we're going to practice, right? And so entering a profession where suicide is one of the highest rates of providers affected by a certain profession. We really have to prioritize our mental health, and so we're living in the era of constant um, connectivity, high expectations, and increasing demands, all of which take a toll on our mental well-being. And so mental health is not just about surviving the journey of becoming a PA. It's about thriving throughout the career. So by recognizing the importance of mental health and actively working to maintain it, as pre-PAs, PA students, and again, practicing PAs, we can ensure a long-term personal well-being and professional success. So it's time to prioritize mental health as much as physical health because a healthy provider leads to healthier patients. So without further ado, I will introduce you all to Dr. Jordan. She is a distinguished PA with uh, a plethora of accolades, including a certificate of added qualifications, also known as a CAQ, in psychiatry, a doctorate of medical science. She's a healthcare leader that brings over 6 years of specialized experience into the psychiatric practice. She has an extensive academic contributions to her field. She serves as a preceptor. She has served as a clinical advisor. She collaborates with our national body, AAPA, the American Academy of PAs, and also our certifying by the National Commission of Certification of PAs, so NCCPA. She is a respected educator, speaker. She's done over 50 speaking engagements, sharing her expertise, her insights, and just her diverse background with a diverse group of healthcare audiences. So we really appreciate her. And if you all will help join me into welcoming her into this conversation today, to share her unique combination of clinical experience, her academic achievements, her educational leadership with us as we learn more about and dive into why we need to prioritize our mental health in this discussion today. So thank you all again for tuning in. We hope you all have your ears on today and open your hearts to receive what she's going to give us.
Yeah, thank you so much for that introduction. Sometimes, you're on the track to becoming for so long that when you finally become who you want to become, it's kind of like who are they talking about? So thank you so much for that introduction and just giving me all a reminder. I just real quick, I want to tell you all that I am presenting from my car today. I do moonlighting sometimes on the weekend and they called me in. So I have somebody covering for me right now, so I don't have to rush. I can take my time, but we're hoping nothing funky happens with the internet or the connection or anything. But thank you for having me today. Like we just said, like mental health is so important, especially right now in this political climate. Every single day, things are changing, things are being taken away, things are being given. And I feel like it's really, really important because a lot of people don't talk enough about mental health. It's kind of like, oh yeah, we came a long way from where we used to be, but we still have a long way to go. So I'm excited to be with you all. I do not have my computer, and I do have a PowerPoint I saw it a second ago. Is it showing? Can you guys see the PowerPoint? Yes. Okay. I can see the PowerPoint, but I can't see you guys, but it's okay. So, with that being said, I'm gonna just dive right in. What is mental health? So, mental health encompasses our emotional, psychological, and social well being. It affects how we think, how we feel, how we act, how we handle stress. It can affect your regular medical health, hypertension, strain on the heart, congestive heart failure, different things I've seen stress do. PTSD, I've seen PTSD do a lot of things, including affect insomnia, sleep. It's just as important as our physical health, but often overlooked and stigmatized due to things that were done back in the day, lobotomies and different things about locking people up in a sign asylum that probably didn't need to be there. We have a long history with mental health and it wasn't done right. So rightfully so, there's a stigma, but I'm hoping really, really hard that one day we're able to overcome that stigma, and I think we're on our way. Songs like "Anxiety" by Doechii and like so many other things, Simone Biles, and people are coming forth. Taraji P Henson talking about mental health and making it more normalized, more like, oh, this is something that we just conversate about, not just so in passing, but we're bringing awareness to it. So I'm glad that we have um, people that's being more forthcoming about mental health. Next slide. So key statistics: 1 in 5 adults experience mental health challenges each year. And 50% of all mental health conditions begin by age 14, but sometimes I've seen it as young as age 5. I've been seeing kids 5 and up, and a lot of times parents bring the children in and they're very I won't say astonished, but it's kind of like that realization that no, we couldn't escape it. I probably felt similar to what my child is feeling, and now there are providers telling me that they're dealing with similar situations that I had to deal with as a child. So a lot of people fail to want to admit that mental health is genetic. A good portion of it is, and genetics just don't go away. So, with the statistics of everybody suffering, I take this slide lightly because I think mental health conditions can take place at any age, but I've seen it as young as 5. Um, Depression is the I am so sorry, guys. I hope you can now hear and see me. My phone got overheated and disconnected us, but we're good. I am in the back seat of the car by any means necessary. We are going to finish this presentation. Like I was saying, depression is the leading cause of disability in the United States. If you still have access, which I'm hoping we still have access to the CDC and the statistics that have 2020, you will see the numbers of suicide have been climbing since then. Now, I know we had a high prevalence before 2020, but it just skyrocketed and it's at alarming rates. I don't know why this isn't like a public health crisis. To me, it surely is. But a lot of people are talking about a lot of other things. And a lot of people, including some people I see, are applying for long term disability because they can't function. Mental health has a very, very, I would say, impact. It just has an impact on your overall life and functioning. Mental health conditions can affect anyone, regardless of age, gender, or background. There are, across all cultures, I think this is something we all have in common, that we all thought mental health was taboo. And we paid the least amount of attention we possibly could to it. And we kept going with life until, thankfully, this generation, the end of the millennials and the beginning of Gen Z, and different things, they're like, no, we're not okay, pause, flag on the plate, we need to address it. And I am seeing more of the younger generation that's prompting their parents to make appointments to get help. So it's actually a good thing because we have to have that conversation about no, this is not normal. No, everybody does not deal with this, or no, everybody does not suffer to this capacity. We should definitely try to do something about it. So more and more adults of the children that's bringing the parents are more open to hearing what I have to say and kind of learning more about themselves, even at the age they're at. So I'm proud of that. Next slide. So common mental health challenges, of course, we have anxiety, we have depression, but we also have stress-related conditions. There's something called acute stress disorder, PTSD. 95% of my patient population that I'm seeing right now is military. I see a lot of women that's been through a lot of sexual assault and sexual misconduct and different situations because they went on tour in Afghanistan and different things that it has such an impact on their physical well-being that because it's so psychological, we can do our best to treat it, but until we dive deep. So this is something else I was probably going to mention later on, but you can't get mental health, just take the medication and expect for that to work on its own. You have to do counseling with it. And especially with patients with stress related disorders, I always recommend EMDR. It is a particular type of therapy. The person administering or leading you EMDR, they have to be certified to give it. It's not just any counselor or any psychologist can give it. You have to have a certification. But if you guys remember, for any Grey's Anatomy fans I have out there was an episode where Wilson found out that she was a product of rape, and she had to go through EMDR therapy. And they did her therapy through lights on the show. That is one form of EMDR. You can do it through tapping, you can do it through music. There's so many different ways to give or administer someone an EMDR, but that is something that I see a whole lot. Sleep disorders, that goes hand in hand with everything else. Eating disorders, substance use disorders. I've been seeing substance use since the beginning of my career. I think the whole marijuana thing has definitely went haywire. The whole Delta 8, Delta 9, Kratom, that has went haywire, and a lot of other things. People are okay with putting that in their bodies, but they don't want to come in to see someone like me to have a conversation, which behooves me because at least what we're giving you in clinic, we know what's in it. Things that people take from the vape shops and, different things like that is not FDA regulated. And I think people either don't know that or they don't care. I digress. Next slide. So, warning signs that you might be dealing with your mental health being unstable, or that you might be going through something. And when should you know? What are the red signs that you should come and probably seek to talk to somebody? Changes in your sleep and eating patterns. If you go from eating 3 meals a day to only eating 1 meal a day, or barely eating 1 meal a day, or we're snacking all day, then that is a sign. Because a lot of people who endure stress and anxiety and depression and different, it can be a sign of so many different things. But that's usually one of the first signs is your sleep or your eating habits. Like you can't get to sleep, you can't stay asleep, or you're waking up super early. All of those patterns are keys to helping mental health professionals figure out like what we're dealing with. So that's important. Keep a journal if you need to. Withdraw from people and activities. So if you're normally skating, or if you're normally at the group meetup every week, every month, and then this month you're deciding not to show up, or maybe you just feel like you don't have the energy to go. You feel tired all the time, like you're running on empty. You feel confused, you feel forgetful or absent-minded, you feel agitated or on edge, angry, upset, worried, or scared, experiencing severe mood swings. One minute you go off on somebody, and the next minute, oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. And it's like you're not even who you're supposed to, like you're not even yourself. You're operating outside yourself. So pay attention to what other people around you also point out, because they're the ones that are experiencing. Sometimes it's hard for us to have a perspective or an avenue on ourselves because we are ourselves. So sometimes we need that outside perspective for people to point out, hey, you're not acting like yourself. I'm worried about you. Should consider seeking help. And then the last bullet, just having persistent thoughts or memories that you can't get out of your head. And that would go hand in hand with PTSD or any type of stress related disorder. Next slide. The impact of mental health and personal life. So relationships with family and friends, it can affect physical health, like we talked about since the beginning, and your well-being, daily functioning and productivity, and overall quality of health. Mental health is so impactful. And when you take care of your mental health, you're taking care of your brain. You only get one brain, like you only get one heart. So these are things that we cannot live without, and our body cannot function without. So why would you not want to take care of your brain? Taking care of your mental health isn't this made up, mystical, taboo type of whatever you want to call it. It's definitely caring for yourself and being able to function. But I think one of the main things that people kind of, or one of the main reasons why people stray away from coming in to see people like me or a psychologist or an MP, is because they say, well, what are people going to think about me if they know I'm taking this medicine? And my question to them is, well, how are people going to know unless you tell them? The only two people in this room is me. And then after I say that, they think about it and they're like, "Oh yeah." And I'm like, "So do you announce like, oh, I take Zyrtec every morning and I take my inhaler. I'm on Advir or I'm on this or I'm on that." Like nobody announces that. But for some reason, when mental health medications are prescribed, they're, well, what will people think if they know I'm taking this medicine? How will they know? And secondly, why do you care what they? So next slide. Professional life. So as you could probably guess, if it affects your personal life, it's going to trickle into everything else, including professional life, your work performance, your career development, workplace relationships, your professional growth. Because if you, some like I talked about with the outside perspective and pointing out that, hey, you're not doing well, you're not acting like yourself, I'm worried about you. it can go for the same thing professional wise. The coworkers might be like, hey, she's been, making this mistake over and over and over, and I have corrected, asked them to do this way, they keep doing it this way, or I think they might need some extra help, or they're not, their productivity is low. Like you need to have a talk, and especially being a PA, depending on what specialty you go into, you do not want your productivity to be low. So um, please take care of your mental health. Next slide. So breaking the stigma. So mental health challenges are not a sign of weakness. It's not a sign of weakness. I don't know not a soul on this earth that doesn't go through mental health challenges, whether it be something light like anxiety, depression, or whether it be psychosis. Everybody goes through something. Seeking help is a sign of strength. It definitely is. It's showing up for yourself and pushing that agenda for yourself, that you care about yourself and your well-being, and you're doing whatever you have to do to function throughout the day. And if that means taking a medication so you don't lose your mind, by all means. But it definitely is a strength because a lot of people don't have the courage to seek it for whatever reason. So seeking help is very, very, very important. Everyone deserves support and understanding. Open conversations can save lives. If treatment is effective and recovery is possible. Sometimes mental health is hereditary, like we talked about, and sometimes you just could be going through something for a certain period of time, and you get through it and you get off the medications and you never have to use the medications again. It just depends on your particular situation and what it is that you're going through, but it's definitely too important to ignore. I'll say that. Next slide. Self-care strategies, so regular exercise and physical activity. And I'm sure you guys feel like, oh my God, being in school is an exercise, and it really is. Because y'all are studying all the time and learning something new, and the quiz here and the test here. But just don't forget, if we can take at least 30 minutes out of 24 hours just to go on a little stroll in your neighborhood or meditate, it doesn't even have to be too physical, but just make sure you unplug at least once in a while, because it's not healthy to keep running on that hamster wheel of being a PA student. I've been there. You will burn yourself out, so make sure to disconnect every now and then. Make sure you have a sleep schedule. Again, this might seem so taboo because being a PA student, you don't have time. It feels like you don't really have time to sleep, but when I was in PA school, if I was tired when I got home, I would take a nap. I would wake up in the middle of the night and start studying because I have more energy and I have more mental capacity to do it after I have been well rested versus trying to push myself to do it while I'm tired. So keep that in mind. Balanced nutrition as much as possible, mindfulness and meditation as much as possible, setting boundaries, maintaining social connections. Sometimes you just need to talk to someone who's not in your class. Sometimes you just need to remember that there is a life outside of PA school, and remember who you are and the friends and the connections that you have in your community, and engaging in enjoyable activities. If you have a moment to unplug, please don't do nothing stressful. Please do something that you enjoy, even if it's taking a nap. Do something that you enjoy because you deserve it. Next slide. Professional support options. So, of course, we talked about therapists, counselors, and psychologists, but support groups. There are a lot of support groups that people don't know about, including on LinkedIn. A lot of people would think LinkedIn because they're like, oh, that's professional. That has to do more and more with work, but here lately, it has been highly supportive, not only for people who have jobs, but people who are going through similar things. Professionals are human too. You go through things. So There are plenty of groups on LinkedIn, Facebook, that you can connect in. If you or when you start working, it's going to be an employee assistance program. Some employers offer, we call it EAP, where they will allow you to have a certain number of therapy appointments, counseling appointments, or seeing a psychologist appointments free until you decide this is the person for me, this is the place I want to go, which is very, very, very helpful. There are crisis hotlines. The most common one is 988. So instead of remembering a 1-800 or a 188 long telephone number, now all you have to remember is 988. If you have a crisis, if you feel like you need to talk to someone, and also Google and check out your state's crisis hotlines for mental health, because every state has one. Then every state also has a chapter of NAMI, NAMI, in their state. Sometimes it's connected to VHEC, so make sure you look out for that. There might be more numbers and resources available to you where you are. There are online mental health resources such as Psychology Today. That's one I give all of my patients. Because I see military, they often get orders and they have to move to Missouri or somewhere. And they're like, oh my gosh, I just found a therapist. How am I going to find one in Missouri? It's going to take me a while. But if you use Psychology Today and type in your zip code, or if you're kind of like, I don't care if I see someone in person, it can be virtual, your insurance is through the state, so that would open you up to the whole state. So if you don't know the zip code for Timbuktu, you can Google the zip code and your counselor could be there. Long as they're credentialed within the state you're in, it doesn't matter where they are. They don't have to be close by. And please don't forget about school, university counseling services, because we pay so much money to go to school. A lot of people don't think that that is a place that they could seek counseling or seek help, but it is. Next slide. Creating a supportive environment. So you want to make sure that, you try not to over isolate yourself. You foster open communication. You speak to people. You practice active listening. If somebody needs to speak to you and they're not in a good place, you make sure that repeat back what it is that you heard to let them know that you heard. Same thing I do in practice. You show empathy and you show understanding and you avoid judgmental language. You learn about mental health. If there's something that you feel like you're not well versed on, it's okay to dive deeper into that topic and look up peer-reviewed articles and studies and different things just to educate yourself and keep yourself up to date on the most recent treatment topics, what have you. You share resources and information that you learn about. So Psychology Today, that might be something you share with someone. Maybe you have someone in your family who want to go see a counselor and don't know where to start and don't want to sit on the phone with your insurance company all day. Because Psychology Today has a filter button on the side where you can filter by insurance. So it's really, really, really helpful in that sense. So don't forget to share resources that you learn about with others and support others in seeking help. Similar to what I just said a second ago, you might have a friend, family member, somebody who's interested in seeking counseling, you don't know where to start. You share that resource with them and you check up on them periodically. You're like, hey, did you ever, check out that website I gave you? Did you ever end up finding a counselor or a psychologist? Oh, you did? How are things going? How do you feel? Different things like that. Just letting your friend or classmate or family member know, because I'm shocked by how many people don't know this, but it is the client rights. Like every time you go to an office, you sign the client bill of rights. You can see anybody you want, and you don't have to give the provider that you were seeing a notice or a breakup letter or anything like that. You just simply go make your appointment with the provider and keep going. You don't have to explain yourself or why you're leaving the practice. If you're not happy with the way you're being treated, just go see someone else. Next slide. So, call to action. I really, really, really want everybody on this call to prioritize your mental health, whatever that might look like. Just like we have first aid kits, and just like we have little rescue kits that we make ourselves, you can make one for mental health. Maybe you have an app, maybe you have a song, maybe you have like a particular person you like to talk to. Make a list for yourself, make a little backpack or something for your mental health. Whether it be like you like drawing, you like coloring, that will be in your mental health rescue pack. So make sure you prioritize your mental health by any means, whether it be cutting people off relationships. Nothing is more important than your mental health. So if it's disturbing your peace, please cut it off. You need to check in on others regularly. There's something that I see on Instagram all the time, and it always says make sure you check on your strong friends because your strong friends have bad days too, and it's so true. Make sure that you're checking in on your strong friends, family members, teachers. I mean, we all need support during this time. So make sure you don't leave anyone out. You share mental health resources. We just talked about that. Challenge the stigma. Whenever you're in conversation with someone or in proximity to someone having a certain conversation and they make a comment about mental health, educate them. Because 9 times out of 10, they're making a comment because they don't know any better. When you know better, you do better. So challenge their take or their perspective on it and educate them. Because we don't need anybody out here promoting, I guess, just don't take people to not take care of their mental health and promote the stigma. We need to undo that. Advocate for mental health awareness at all costs, and know the emergency contacts for mental health crisis. Like I talked about in your state, there might be more resources than just 988. And know that it's so highly important that you will see mental health no matter what specialty you go into. You will always see mental health. So it is definitely something that you need to know how to care for when it comes to your patients. Next slide. So, yep, we talked about the National Crisis Hotline, the local mental health clinics. If you don't know of any local mental health clinics, I know we have NAMI, we have VHEAD, but there might be a community resource that you don't know about. So just Google and become a little bit more aware of what you have in your proximity to you. Also, online support communities, mental health apps. Everybody has heard of Calm. Everybody has heard of Headspace, but there are so much more apps available out there. Take a look in Google Play or the App Store if you're Team iPhone. And educational resources. There are plenty of books. If anybody has ever heard of Dr. Amen, that's literally his name. He has written so many books and came up with so many resources, and he even opened his own clinics. He is a pioneer in psychiatry and the things that he's doing. So look him up. He's pretty well known. You've probably seen him on social media a time or two. Next slide.
I think that might
That
be the last slide.
that might be the last slide. Okay, cool. Any questions? Or any general questions? It doesn't have to be related to this, or it can be related to this that anybody on the call might have.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jordan. Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
So in your conversation, you were talking about like just these alternative therapies like marijuana.